Hey, Natasha.
Hey, Claire. I think we're gonna have to start over though. That was not peppy enough.
I don't know how to be peppy. It's Monday morning here. And yeah, we had to re-record our intro. So I hope you enjoyed it this time more than the last episode, listener. Because we,
Yeah, our editor told us that we were not energetic. We didn't bring the energy. It was, I guess, a little too monotone. So I would love for people to let us know if they
yeah,
heard a difference.
right. I mean, I gave it my all,
I did.
which is hard because one, we're talking about robots today, and I was trying to not sound robotic while also preparing to talk about robots. But I'm also irritated. And it's, well, let me ask you this. Do you know what my biggest pet peeve is, Natasha?
That I don't wear my rings.
Not about you.
Oh
I mean,
no.
yes, that is my biggest pet peeve about you because it freaks me out. Because you just leave them on tables or desks or wherever we are. You take them off, and I'm paranoid that you're going to lose them because you have lost rings before. So
Yep.
that's a valid concern. But I'm talking about, like, in general, what is my biggest pet peeve?
People that don't eat chocolate.
No. No, I
Okay,
appreciate
I
that.
don't know.
More for me. No, it's being late. I really don't like being late.
Like you personally being
Yes,
late.
me.
Gotcha. Mhm.
Which also irritates me when other people are late because 'cause I'm like, this should be a priority. You should always be on time." But especially when I'm running late.
You were late to this podcast.
Exactly. So, I'm already coming in frazzled, and I know that it's not, like, a really hard deadline, but your time is precious, and I feel like it's really disrespectful to be late, and so I was running late, like 8 minutes late. That's a lot late.
Exactly. And what was the reason? I need to know now because I'm very upset at you.
Honestly, it actually all ties in to what we're talking about today. Oh
Ooh.
my goodness. Okay, so I dropped my kids off at school, and then I went to the post office, and I was like, "I'm doing fine. I'm gonna get coffee." So I got coffee, and then I drive a Tesla. You drive a Tesla. You have a
I
Model
do.
Y, I have a Model X. I don't know if yours does this, but I punch in home, and then I hit go on the full self-driving. And the way FSD works is it shows you on a map a little blue line of the route that it's going to take, and it just follows it, and it does everything that you need it to do, makes all the turns, turns on the blinker. You still have to pay attention or put on sunglasses and pretend like you're paying attention, and it just does it, right?
Right.
Wrong. Today, it still showed the little blue line that goes directly to my house, but for some reason, at an intersection, it just decides, "Nah, I'm gonna turn here."
Oh,
And it
no.
just took a turn off of its blue line track and goes onto a highway, and there's all these 18-wheeler trucks, so there's you can't, like, just turn around. And I was like, "What in the world? Like, now where are we going?" So I feel like, is this some sort of government conspiracy? Am I being kidnapped by my car?
I think this is your area because the only time I've had problems, remember I was leaving your house and it starts driving down the wrong side of the road. Like it suddenly was in like British mode. It was so scary. I mean, it's a very rural area, so there were no other cars, but I do not trust it at all in your
Eh
area.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, my husband says that he drives in the Metroplex with it and no problems in crazy downtown streets. So, yeah, it's probably just my area is too foreign for it or something. But I've never had it just turn on like, follow the blue line. You
That's
picked
weird.
that. Why would you take a random turn and not go? So that is why I was late, is 'cause it took a
So you
turn, and then I
blame
had
the
to
car.
figure out how to get back. And then I was like, "No." So, I'm sorry, but my robot malfunctioned. So, yeah, and today we're gonna talk about robots, and I'm pretty
Perfect.
excited about it. But first, can I share with you the engineering highlight? I have a pretty
Absolutely. Tell
cool
me.
engineer I wanna talk about, and it has to do with robots. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Before robots assembled cars or explored distant planets, there was a man who imagined a machine that could think in commands and move with purpose. George Devol was born in 1912 in Louisville, Kentucky. A tinker at heart, more fascinated by circuits and mechanics than classrooms, he never followed a traditional academic path. Instead, he built, experimented, and chased ideas that others dismissed as science fiction. In 1954, in a quiet moment of inspiration, Devol filed a patent for something revolutionary, a programmable article transfer device. It wasn't a catchy name, but it was the blueprint for the first industrial robot. This machine could be programmed to move objects precisely the same way over and over again without fatigue and without hesitation. In a world racing towards automation, Devol had just written the first line of a new industrial language. But an invention is only as powerful as its opportunity. When Devol partnered with engineer and entrepreneur Joseph Engelberger, the idea leapt from the paper into steel and wiring. Together, they created Ultimate, the world's first industrial robot. In 1961, it was installed on a General Motors assembly line, lifting scorching hot metal parts that once endangered human workers. The age of robotics had begun, not with a humanoid figure, but with a mechanical arm, performing a dangerous job with tireless precision. Devol didn't just build a machine, he built a movement. His invention laid the foundation for the robotic systems that now manufacture our technology, assist in surgeries, and even explore Mars. Every automated arm that welds, paints, or assembles owes something to his quiet breakthrough. George Devol gave industry a helping hand, one made of metal and code, and thanks to him, the future didn't just arrive, it was programmed. You could say he really knew how to arm humanity for
Huh.
what came next.
Well done. I'm surprised I didn't have to guess from a last time you're like, "What's that sound?"
Uh-huh. Yeah, I didn't have a robotic arm on hand.
Makes sense.
The
You coulda
I
got one of
limit
those,
I
like, claw things, like the toys, the
Oh,
I'm talking about?
yes. Which have you been to a Dave& and Buster's?
Yes.
Little side here. Have you seen the human claw?
No.
It is the biggest ripoff that also I'm like, "Yeah, I'd totally pay for that." You pay $20 in addition to the little card that you load to play in the arcade for to be strapped to a harness, and you are the claw, and it lowers you into this
Oh, that's
pile
fun.
of floaties, and you just grab one, and then you're done. You got it.
You get a floaty, so you are the
Yeah,
claw. That's funny. I have not seen
yeah,
that.
yeah. For 20 bucks, you get something that you just go get at Dollar Tree that you also could be the human claw, just pick it up. But, yeah.
Well, back to this guy
Uh-huh.
and his invention. Um, yeah, I've been to the Toyota plant in San Antonio where they have all the industrial robots, and it is wild to see how they put cars together. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's where, my husband DJ worked there. He did a co-op at that Toyota factory in San Antonio, and it was pretty impressive talking about, like, all the things that people are afraid of robots replacing human jobs, but that's not really what's been happening. It's more about taking out of the equation some of the dangerous or really monotonous, the fatigue, the things that are causing all sorts of health problems are now being done using machines, and there's still people needed to run these machines and maintain them and program them. So it's creating, I think, the same amount of jobs, if not more, to keep up with these things and make things more efficient. So I think it's fascinating.
And if you're in the San Antonio area, they have field trips. So you can get on a little tram and drive through the facility. And that's such a cool experience for your kids. And if you don't have that kind of opportunity, you can just go online and Google like robotic, car manufacturing or something.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So for each of our engineer and science highlights, we have a one page, well, it's two page, front and back is how I print it for my classroom, but handout that you can use to go along with studying this engineer, George Devol, this inventor of the robotic hand. And you can also use our robotic hand lesson that goes with it too. So you build your own robotic hand that can do some sort of task, and your students will come up with what that task should be and design it to be able to accomplish that, whether it's pick something up or compete in the Olympics somehow with with it. Your kids get to come up with that and then build it to fit with that task. So check that out. It's in our free resource library if you become a member of the STEM Space Explorer library. Yeah. So robots, Natasha, you know some things about robots now, I think.
I am definitely in the world of robotics, so that is for sure. I started in July this new job. How many months ago was that? I feel like it's been a lifetime.
Yes.
Um, and a lot of our listeners have probably had experience with this organization. This is FIRST. And so I'm in FIRST in Texas. So I am running all the robotics programs in the state of Texas. So that's FIRST Lego League, which is for your little kids, elementary and middle school. And then there's FIRST Tech Challenge, which are more industrial looking robots, but still classroom size. And then there's FIRST Robotics Challenge, which is like the mega 120-pound robots that, if you think like battle bots, like that's kind of what this is. We take over the entire like convention center to run these competitions, and that's kicking off in 2 weeks. So I was sending you pictures this past weekend because we were in San Antonio down at the warehouse, and we loaded up 10 pods in a semi truck with all of the field sets and AV equipment and carpets and all the things you need to run a show, like a robotics competition. And then these are going to go on tours. So we have 12 events that are happening for the FRC season. But it's been fun. So yeah, I've kind of seen the progression of robotics through this experience on how we're, tailoring it from kinder all the way to 12th grade. And it's been very informative. And I actually pulled you in on a competition recently. You want to talk about that?
Yes. So I have never been involved in robotics. That was not something that was available when I was a kid, or I at least didn't know about it. It, yeah, I'd never seen that world, and I've never built a
Same.
robot
Mm-hmm.
besides doing some small things in my classroom as a teacher. So I had no idea what I was walking into when you were like, there's a robotics competition. Let's go check it out. And I was like, sure, that sounds fun. Expecting to see some kids like tinkering with a few things, and then maybe they drive their little robot on a little maze. I don't know. That is not what we walked into. I told you this, that this was like going to another planet or an alien coming to Earth and you saying, I'm going to show you a sport called football, and then taking them to the Super Bowl. That is what I felt like. You walk in and there's, I mean, kids, students everywhere with these crazy looking robots that are doing things with like picking stuff up in the air and like hitting each other and swiping things off of contraptions. And there's this uh, competition. What do you even call that?
Like an
The
arena, like a whole setup. Yeah, with
Yeah,
a
like a
stress
boxing ring
yeah.
almost, but it's
Mhm.
got this truss structure all around it that with TVs showing the
Cameras.
scores
Mhm.
and
The
an
live stream,
overview camera. I mean, I don't understand
announcers,
how you
bleachers
get
of
into
people
that.
cheering.
Yes, there were stands, so many people, and an entire building. This was the learning center
Mhm.
at NASA? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like an affiliated education center, where they run all their robotics programming, and so there's some funding from NASA, but then the people that are the mentors and the coaches are NASA employees. But what's cool is that FRC team, which we got to visit afterwards, used to be in Building 9. And they would be part of the tour that you get. And they'd be like, here's the astronaut training area, and here's the kids' robotics area.
Yes. So if you're not familiar with Building 9 at NASA, that is the coveted place to go hang out because it's the vehicle mock-up assembly building. And it's where they have, like, if they're going to have a module that goes on the space station, they have the mock-up there that's life size that astronauts train in and they explore. There's all other kinds of things in there, robots, things that are going to go on other planets. And it's a huge building. So that's crazy that they had kids robotics there.
Yeah.
And you can take a tour of that, of building 9, but you're like up on this little walkway behind windows looking down into it. You can't like go in there. So that's
Yeah, they got,
amazing.
like, somehow security access to let these high school kids go in and build their robots. Yeah, it's wild, and what you saw is think that, but even bigger for FRC. Like, the robots are probably 3 times the size, and the field is, like, way larger. I mean, we're taking, like, a basketball court size area, for these fields, and they're just massive, and they're climbing things. I'm gonna get you to one of these events. It's cool.
I would love to see it. I'm just in awe of what these kids can do
Yeah.
because it's impressive. And I talked to one of the teams that we went to see, and I was just asking them questions, and they were teaching me things about how these robots work, the way that their team had to work together to do the programming and the engineering side. And most of the robots looked very similar, but there was so much to them that they had to have intricate knowledge of how a robot works and functions to make it happen. And it was amazing. I was so impressed.
And that it was that particular competition that has that model where the you kinda have a kit that you're starting with, but then there's other competitions that you could see some wild designs, and so it's what you might have noticed is the kind of the thinking behind this organization is to make it exciting, to make it cool. Remember the quote somebody said was, "This is the only sport that everybody can go pro." And
Yeah.
so it feels like a sport. It feels like a football game or a basketball game or like a pep rally, and you're celebrating science and engineering and technology, and these kids are like, "This is so cool," and they are working so hard because of that event. The event is like the capstone project, but the learning is what happens outside of that and leading up to it. So for FRC, like mid-January, the game drops, and these kids are spending every day after school for hours. Their entire Saturday is around designing and building and prototyping and working with mentors. And, I've been kind of back and forth on like the competitive aspect of robotics. But there's something that happens when there is a competition, there is a goal, right? That's kind of getting you to compress all that time and like just focus and you're so excited and the energy around it versus yeah, you could have a robotics class and teach some similar things. But this like kind of when we did aerospace and we had the capstone project for rocketry, like it's something that everybody comes together and has a real bonding experience and you learn so much.
Yes, and that is why we push for those stage 3 challenges and not getting like, just staying in that stage 2 engineering design, which is fabulous. The meat of all of our programs are stage 2 engineering design challenges. But when you have that competitive time, I think just all of the pressure in good ways can bring out what's really important in, did you really understand what you were trying to learn? Are you excited about it? I don't think kids get as excited unless they're kind of pushed in a competitive way. I don't know what it is that makes us wired that way, but it's important. And that's some things that you gain from sports, why parents put their kids in sports, that competitive nature. You learn things, it builds your character in a lot of ways that other things don't. And that's so important.
Yeah, and so there's the word that first uses called cooperation. So it's cooperation with competition, and then they also have the phrase gracious professionalism. So at these events, you're also being scored on these values, these core values of are you respectful of other teams? There are alliances. So you are forced to work with other teams in the game, and that makes it so much fun and then you have to like learn the other team's strategy and how their robot works. So there's like these other elements that I think are really unique. You are completely frozen, Claire.
I love those values, and I think it's such an important thing because you can also use these skills in jobs. Like, this is a resume builder, unlike anything else. Any other competitions, I think, that I've heard of, you can use these. I mean, you have NASA engineers and scientists that are being mentors for some of these teams in Houston, and I'm sure there's lots of other industry leaders that could help out with local teams that are involved in robotics. But how do you get started with this? Do you have recommendations? Like, if I wanted to start with my kids in my classroom doing robotics, what do I do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really depends on I think we've said this so many times, but you got to think about your ultimate goals. What do you want the kids to get out of this? Do you want them to learn programming, building, the real world connections? Do you care about the competition side? We're big fans of Sphero because it's so easy to use and you don't have all the parts versus like First Lego League, you have all these like Lego pieces and you got to keep track on that of that. And a lot of the time is spent on building, but that brings in the engineering design process, right? Because they're building all these extensions to complete missions in that program. And so I feel like it's overwhelming as a teacher because there's just so many different robotic systems. And also your funding, like, do you have the money for it? And so a lot of our Vivify lessons bring in kind of the unplugged side of it, like the design thinking. We have that unplugged coding challenge online, a million coding games, right? Like these are all robotics related activities. But if you want like the hardware, right? Like the robotic system, yeah, I mean, I feel like you just make it fun in your classroom and have like games and have them play around with. I have this tablet and it is coding that thing over there to do something, like just having kids experience that. And it doesn't even matter what the system is, whether it's a Sphero or a Bebot or a WeDo, all these silly names. But the what's the little one, the color robot?
Ozbot? Yeah.
Ozbot. Yeah, like there's so many cool ones. And I think that's perfect intro to elementary, just to get them playing around with these things. And then as they're getting older, being more intentional about those learning outcomes, I say matters more for like upper elementary and middle school. What do you think?
Yeah, and I was thinking back to somebody that we talked to at the competition when we were down there in Houston, and he made the comment that just like all little kids are handed a soccer ball, and it's like, well, you're handed a soccer ball, learn how to kick it. Everybody has that kind of common experience that they can build upon and learn how to play a sport. All kids should be handed something when they're little to kind of learn the mechanics of robotics. Yeah, there's a programming side, which can be helpful, but there's also the engineering side of robotics that he was focused on. And I listened to him because he's the chief engineer of the what is it, rovers and things that are on the moon and Mars at
Yeah.
NASA. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of knows some things about robots.
A little bit.
And he gave me a bunch of stuff, which was so kind, that I'm going to be helping our school because there's nothing like this where I am. And he was like, just teach like kinder through second grade, connect a motor to some wheels and teach them how that works. That's all you need to do. Just hand them that. And we have some things like that with Vivify where you can do like the Astro Rover or even the little vibration motors, connect that to a robot that moves. Just understanding the whole thing with the wheel and axle, how that is a basic part of a robot and how you use a motor and how you create a circuit. I mean, start there. And I think that's a big step in the right direction. Just getting kids that experience where they understand how things work.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I think it's part of how we're integrating engineering into the science standard. So that's also a perfect thing to do in a science classroom, because we often get swept away by all those flashy products that I just listed, because they are super fun. But sometimes we're missing some basic concepts around engineering and how the world around us works. So I love that approach.
Yeah, being able to build the robot is important,
Or at
probably
least
even more so
understanding
than
parts
using
of it.
one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so those Lego kits, I don't know what they're all called, but There's Lego kits that have motors and wheels, and then you can build
Mhm.
off of those, the different Lego pieces, and build a
Yep.
little chassis and make things stable. So I think that would be a great starter set if you're starting that at your school to get kids excited about building robots, because most kids know how to use Legos. So make them move on their
Yep.
own.
And just as a heads up, FLL or First LEGO League is dramatically changing. So the one you're talking about is Spike or the Spike Prime kit, and those are being discontinued in July. So schools can still buy them. The new kit is called the Computer Science and AI kit, which is pretty cool because it's going to be aligned to CS standards for classrooms. I do not know about this AI part and how that works. They haven't released any of that, but it has the same idea where you can connect all these motors and pieces and complete challenges. So I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds pretty cool.
Well, they need to come up with a better name because I'm not going to remember that. I can remember Spike, but
I
computer science
know.
and AI kit, like what? Kids aren't going to be like, hey, guess what I got to play with today, Mom? The computer science and AI Lego kit.
Good point. Good point. I'll pass that along
Can we
to the
call it
Lego
something
team.
else? Some cool name. The ultimate prime Lego kit. I don't know. Make it cool.
Well, just so you know, the marketing team is trying to market to schools, and they found that it's hard to market something called Spike or EV3, right? I
Really?
know. That I think what their rationale was. So the school's like, I want the computer science and AI kit. Like, let me Google what you know what I mean? I think it's for the admin. But as
Well,
educators, we should change it. I agree.
I'm changing it. I'm going to write them a letter,
You
strongly
should.
worded letter. Hey, this also ties into one of the feats of STEM news highlights that I have for
Tell
us
me about
today.
it.
Okay, so I have 4 news highlights.
Okay.
Every episode, I'm going to be sharing some things that happened in the world of STEM in the news from the past week or so. And here's this first one with Perseverance. This happened in the last month. But NASA's Perseverance rover achieved a major milestone on Mars by navigating with routes planned by artificial intelligence rather than human drivers. This is the first time this has been done. So, using a vision based AI system, the rover analyzed terrain images, spotted hazards like rocks and sand ripples, and mapped out its own safe path. After rigorous virtual testing, Perseverance successfully followed the AI-designed routes, traveling hundreds of feet across the Martian surface on its own. Better than my Tesla, apparently. So, well done, Perseverance. Okay, in other news, do cows have the smarts to use tools? What do you think, Natasha?
Obviously. But how? With their mouth? Like what?
Okay, a new study says yes. Did you say how now, brown cow? I thought that's what you said. You should
That
have
is
said.
not what I said.
It is rare in the animal kingdom for anything to be able to flex their use of tools in practical ways, but a cow in Austria was shown to use a broom handle to scratch itches that were hard to reach. You can read more about this fascinating study and use the free accompanying lesson plan that's meant for teachers to use in the classroom from the New York Times using the link in our show notes. So, yes, this
These
cow took a broom handle in its mouth and was scratching things, both ends of the broom handle.
I would like one of your students to make this their science fair project, please.
Oh, yes. I don't have cows, though. I have chickens. I wonder if my chickens could do it. I have smart chickens. I bet they could. Yes.
Cleopatra
Speaking
can.
of chickens, a new dinosaur species was found. Scientists have discovered a new species of massive predatory dinosaur in Niger's Sahara Desert. The Spinosaurus mirabilis, I think that's how you say that, living about 95 million years ago, this 40-foot, 5 to 7-ton predator hunted large fish in inland rivers using long crocodile-like jaws with interlocking teeth and nostrils positioned to breathe while stalking prey underwater. It's only the second known Spinosaurus species and features a striking 20-inch sword-shaped head crest, likely used for display. The inland fossil site also challenges the idea that Spinosaurus was fully aquatic, suggesting suggesting it was instead a shallow water hunter, a giant sail-backed hell heron, which is what they're calling it, of the Cretaceous period. Terrifying.
Wow.
Okay, and last but not least, you should eat pecans. Do you like pecans?
Candy coated pecans.
Oh, okay. Maybe that has some health benefits.
From Bucky's.
Oh, okay. I bet those are good. So, a new review published in Nutrients finds strong evidence that pecans support heart health, particularly by improving cholesterol and other blood lipid markers. Researchers analyzed more than 20 years of studies and also found that pecan eaters tend to have better overall diet quality. While results on blood sugar and weight are mixed, pecans may increase fullness, which I would think anything that you eat increases your fullness. I don't know.
Well, some things more than others.
But they don't appear to cause weight gain, so that's good.
Ooh.
But more research is needed in areas like gut and brain health. So eat your candy-coated pecans. I
I
approve.
will. Thank you. Those are good. I'm excited to do this on every episode. This is fun.
Yeah. So we'll have links on them in the show notes if you want to talk about these things with your students. They're great bell ringers to have students discuss what they think about these things in the news. Maybe if you have older kids, you can talk about ethics and have debates about things, or just talk about ways that you can utilize this information and apply it to your own life.
I love it.
All right. Well, we'll have some more coming out about robotics because I think this is something that we all need to be more aware of and be approaching it in our classrooms. So stay tuned for more on that. But for now, STEM Space out.